Hey friends, Morgan Quaid here, talking to you from a strange room in a strange new place. And that's quite apt because in this episode we'll be peeling back the onion and taking a look at how the sausage is made in the onion sausage that is my mind brain. I'll be showing you how I write a comic script from the very beginning, from the initial idea, sketching an outline, and then starting on the first page of the comic. Hopefully you find it interesting. It's a very word-heavy video, but I'll do my best to make it interesting and insightful and incisive and other words that begin with in. Okay, so this is a sample script for a story called Becoming Benny Bear. You can see by the logline, it's about a middle-aged man who starts to become the mascot. He dresses up on each weekend. So he goes to games, he dresses up as this bear mascot, and then over time he starts to actually become the bear. So the first thing I would do is find a good starting point, and in this case I think a starting point and an end point that's the same would be kind of nice. So my first starting point is going to be a locker room. We'll call him Frank as the main character. So Frank's standing there, taking the bear head off, and looking in the mirror and being a bit depressed and sad and tired and all that sort of stuff. And then I might actually add in at the end, because it would be a nice bracket, if you like, to do this. So that's the kind of moment of realization where Frank starts to see that he is turning into the bear. So that gives us a good start and an end, and then really the rest of it is trying to fill out the middle section of how does this actually start. So in that we've started at the end, I think we would then go back to some area of the game. So maybe Frank is, there's a game day, cheering on the crowd, all that sort of stuff. And in here, basically what I'm doing is outlining some key points that I might like to cover. I'm not too worried about the order, it's just putting in here some of the ideas that I might want to look at doing. Okay, maybe something about Frank being disgruntled, not really liking the job, and talking about it with a friend. It would be great if the friend was also a mascot, or someone that's in the same sort of industry or that sort of thing. Now I'm not sure exactly how this whole thing is happening. I might even do this that we don't know, we're unaware of it, but it would be good to have an initial glimmer of how this change is starting to happen. We could even do something as simple as so maybe there's that classic scene where the girlfriend sort of convinces Frank to go in and talk to the fortune teller. Something like that. Who knows? And then, in all honesty, at this point, that's probably enough for me to get started on, and I would start writing the script from there, particularly that first scene, because that's the clearest in my mind. And then from there, I would start to fill it out. But really, that's what I'm looking at for the whole, the initial 22 pages, and that gives me enough to go on. So I would now immediately go and start up on page 1. Page 1. I'll give a bit of background, because again, this is for the artist to give them an idea of what we're talking about. Okay, you might want to put more background than that initially. But this is just to get started. So again, this is before the first edit. This is just getting the ideas down there. So Frank is staring at the mirror, looking depressed, tired. I was going to say worn out, but that's the same thing as tired. So that's enough for me for the first panel, and then panel 2. Staring right into the mirror, and then I'm going to go here. I would normally go VO as in voiceover, or I can just go narration, something like that. I'm just going to go voiceover, so that the artist and everyone knows that he's not actually opening his mouth and talking in this scene, but it's more in his head or after the fact. All right, so there's a little bit of desperation there. You'll see that I move the text, I dent the text a little bit there, moving it a little bit forward. That's just my preference because it's nice and clear when I'm going back over. I can see where the dialogue is versus everything else. Panel 3, so it's close up on Frank. We can see that he's saying he's a little bit depressed and whatnot. Let's make a little bit of a statement. And I'm a big fan of this sort of voiceover or narration thing happening as action is happening throughout the piece. So what else does he say? Need to get out, need to find a way. Apologies for the swearing, a little bit salty. And let's just leave it as he's not actually finishing the thought. And we'll end on sort of a different view. So that piece there that I've just put in there, that's a suggestion that I would have for the artist. It doesn't mean that that's exactly the way it has to be in this case. And again, this is a first draft, but just a little hint there of what I think might look pretty cool if you've got Frank in there on his own with a light source sort of coming from above, just to really reiterate how alone and depressed he feels at this particular moment. Now that is page 1. I would then go on, obviously, to page 2 and keep going in exactly that same vein as we've done there. But again, it starts with a little bit of an outline here of basically what the whole story, the whole issue is looking like. And then from there, once I've got enough to go on, I will start going to page by page. I will probably come back to this to sort of figure out what I need to do, and I might add here. This is actually a really good idea as well, to have a summary like this for each issue that you're putting together for the whole story arc. It's great if you're going to an indie publisher. It's also good just to give you an idea so you can clearly see where you're heading. And again, the key for me, particularly with this story, is the beginning and the end. And having that similar sort of scene play out at the beginning and the end means that I've got somewhere very solid to go, and it's nice and easy to work through that. Well, hopefully that's given you something to think about. We'll see where this goes with Becoming Benny Bear. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that video. As always, like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you've got any questions or if you just want to chat. And as always, keep it real, keep it safe.